Now the first item we have is the SIMUBE S Hub, which is the equivalent of the Fanatec Podium Hub. And secondly, we have the SIMUBE Podium Advanced Paddle Module. First thing to know actually is these are about half the price of what Fanatec sells theirs, and these are not inexpensive products, so the cost saving is pretty significant. So that's worth knowing to begin with. So let's get into these boxes. Some bits and pieces there, some screws and Allen keys. Sort of collar around here just to protect those pins. It supports 70 and 50mm wheel bolt patterns. That's good. Those threaded holes are for actually attaching these modules to. And this lid comes off and we route some cables into there. I'll take this off in a moment, but first let's get into this box as well. So top layer, got some paddles. They look very nice. So carbon fibre. These ones look like carbon fibre with some sort of gold thread woven through it, which is kind of nice. And a couple of aluminium ones there. And the modules. So more screws, etc. So with these, we have two magnetic shifter paddles effectively. And that is an analog input down here, so clutch paddles essentially. But yeah, aluminium and magnetic shifter paddles. They're not too loud, that's kind of nice. But they do have a bit of click to them, so that's good. So obviously we've got two of these. So what I need to do is screw these to here first and then get these paddles on. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this all put together. Incidentally, I do have a quick release here. So this is a Tanlenki quick release. It's not from SIMUBE. I have a video on this, actually a separate video. So a very nice quick release. So I'll drop a link below to my review of this quick release. Again, cheaper than Fanatec. So the reason why I buy all this gear, guys, to show you, some Fanatec alternatives. The modules plug into these sockets, one on either side. Now down here we have 3 more sockets. Now the one labelled USB, I actually don't know what it's used for, but I do know on either side of that, those two do have a purpose. And that's for plugging in these types of cluster buttons that you can buy from Fanatec directly. They come in a pack of 2. Now I don't have any spares and I'm not going to take them off this wheel, but that's what they will plug into. So you can add extra buttons to this hub if you want to, but for me I'm just going to have the modules and that's it. So all I need to do is get these plugged in, make sure I have them the right way around. I've installed a different arrangement of paddles on either side. So if you're running a small diameter wheel, then this side will be more useful to you. And if you have a larger diameter wheel or wider wheel, then the larger paddle shifter would be more useful to you. You can see how close it is and how far that goes out. So in a moment, I'm going to bring in some wheels. I'll attach them to this hub so you can just see how that all works out and how easy it is for me to get my hands to these paddles. So the other thing to note is these smaller paddles at the top, the sort of gap there. So it's pretty easy to get to. And on this side, even though it is slightly obscured, you just reach around and sort of grab it. So that seems to be fine. And down here we have those clutch paddles, and indeed I have already installed my Telenki quick release. Comparing the SIMUBE Podium Advanced paddle module alongside the pictures on the Fanatec website. Do they look the same? Yeah, it appears to be identical hardware in every feature and detail, but not the price. $199 from Fanatec or $128 including tax from AliExpress. On a similar measure, the SIMUBE S-Hub makes you a very decent saving over the Fanatec one. Though, bear in mind the S-Hub doesn't include the quick release, so you will need to get one of those on top. The Fanatec Podium Hub does come shipped with the quick release. It's also worth pointing out, side by side, these hubs are not completely identical, but effectively are doing the same job, and the Fanatec control panel recognises the SIMUBE S-Hub as an original Podium Hub. If you want to add those buttons, then you will need to get those from Fanatec directly. There isn't an aftermarket version of those kicking about, unfortunately. But I'm quite liking this bare bones style. I have the essentials covered, paddle shifters and clutch paddles, plus the addition of those two extra paddle inputs that can be mapped to any other function I need. The paddles are packed close together, but I don't find this layout cramped, and I've never found myself grabbing the wrong input. The feedback from the tactile is crisp and positive, the strong magnets doling out a chunky dose of resistance. And those clutch paddles are supported by strong springs. I showed you on my table some different wheel styles fitted to the S-Hub to check if the paddles remain in reach, essentially. You ought to be fine for anything between and including 270 to 330mm wheel size diameters. Flat and slightly dished spoke wheels will be fine. Just avoid those deep dish wheels, as those paddle shifters will be quite far away otherwise. This OMP Trecento steering wheel I have planted on the S-Hub is one I struggle to fit on most other wheel plates. It's a problem I've demonstrated in previous videos a few times. No such struggle here because there is not a wheel plate and buttons to get in the way, so that's certainly a selling point. There are a few unconventional steering wheels out there, but that won't be a problem for this setup. Being a sparse design makes it objectively lighter than carrying a wheel plate. Not something that matters for this powerful Club Sport DD+, but maybe for the CSL DD. You'll appreciate this. A lighter wheel is less work for the motor to hurl around and should be an advantage for sending those sweet force feedback effects down the line when there's less mass and weight to contend with. The SIMUBE S-Hub paired with the advanced paddle module is a practical invention that will work with pretty much any aftermarket steering wheel within reason and quite a bit cheaper than buying the same solution from Fanatec. I've posted some links below to some other Fanatec hardware alternatives I've picked up from AliExpress recently, including a rather nifty adapter that upgrades first generation Fanatec wheels to support the latest QR2 standard. So do check that one out along with the others.